Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing the Call of Duty 2 scored review. Now this game was developed by Infinity Ward and it was published by Activision. This is a first-person shooter. Well, it's about as basic of a first-person shooter as you can get. Now I score games based on 5 separate categories, which are story, graphics, gameplay and mechanics, music and sound effects, and achievements. Now for the story, this is based in World War II, so there's not really a whole lot of story here to cover. It's just alternative takes of you playing random people in major battles that occurred during the history of World War II. So there's nothing spectacular there. And to be honest, the characters in the game, there's only like 2 characters I remember anything about, and that's the British Captain Price, but I think that's partially because of the other Call of Duty games I've played where Captain Price has been a prominent character, and Sergeant Randall of the American infantry, or American Rangers. Now, the Russians have Private Vasily Ivanovich Kozlov here, which I'm showing, but the Russians really didn't have a prominent role in this game, so I don't really remember a whole lot about it other than it's a bunch of snow battles. As for the graphics, this is an old, really old first-person shooter. So this game does not look all that great by today's standards, but for like the designs of the guns and some of the backdrops are decent for the time, but as for characters and animations, those don't look good at all, and the way some of the characters are animated look just straight up horrid. Now, the gameplay and mechanics, this is actually where the game shines. The gunplay is really smooth, and like the aiming down sights is pretty snappy. The gun trigger pull is responsive. Most of each of the guns feels different. My only gripe is the movement. It kind of feels like you're sliding, so you tend to get hung up on things really easy when moving. The jumping is pretty good, but the mantling over objects can sometimes be iffy. Sometimes it'll let you do it, sometimes it won't. This being an old game, it really doesn't bring a whole lot to the table that's new, other than like a more refined first-person combat experience for its time. Now for music and sound effects, the game itself, a lot of times when you're playing the game, you feel like you're in a war. You're always hearing bullets go overhead. It sounds like impacts on rock walls and bullets firing or whizzing past. The sounds of you hitting the ground, boots on the ground, and all the characters yelling around you, although some of the characters have some really funny voices, which I thought was really good. A lot of the dialogue lines from the random soldiers can be really funny, but in terms of like the voice acting, a few of the characters did well, but the majority of them do kind of feel out of place. But I kind of chalk that up to this being an old first-person shooter. It's not as refined as they are today. Now for, let's see, I did story, graphics, gameplay, mechanics, music, sound effect. Oh yeah, the music. When there is music, the music is really well done, and it does give you patriotic or feeling of battle when you're playing through the game. So the music is great. Now for the achievements. This game has, I want to say, fairly well balanced achievements, but they are boring. It is literally beat the game on regular, beat the game on hardcore, and beat the game on veteran. If you play straight through the game on veteran, you will unlock every achievement this game has to offer. You don't even have to play the lower difficulties. But the difficulty is pretty well balanced, which balances the ease of being able to knock out all but a handful of achievements via easy gameplay. Now, unlike most places, I rank games 5 out of 10 instead of the industry standard of 7 out of 10 for the average rating. And this game, although it has a mediocre story, decent graphics for its time with some issues and glitches, pretty good controls with a few issues here and there. Music and sound effects are all really good, and the achievements are pretty well balanced. Considering how old this game is, I will give it a 6 out of 10. There's nothing really to write home about for first-person shooter, but if you're into the era that this game takes place in, and you like first-person shooters, I would highly recommend this. But if you're not, but you want some easy achievements, this is another good one. Otherwise, if you really want to play this game, I would highly recommend catching it on sale, and it does go on sale regularly. But unless you're like a big fan of Call of Duty or first-person shooters or anything like that, I wouldn't worry about it too much. So, 6 out of 10, and with all things gaming, Game Logic, am I right?